Good afternoon, everybody. So I'd like to introduce Seamless Source, who are going to talk to you about the impact of AI on retail, global supply chains. Over to Joseph.
Yeah, thanks, Liz. Cool. So it's a nice, interesting audience. First, I'll start with a question. Who do you think, or else, who thinks that your job can be replaced by AI in the near future? Anyone? Anyone thinks that your job can be replaced by AI?
Except what you mean by the future.
Maybe near future?
Is it our generation or is it like 4 generations?
Maybe like in 3-4 years' time? No. Good. I like your confidence. Okay, I'll give my personal opinion. I don't think AI can replace you in the near future. But the thing is, if you don't know about AI, your boss might change you. So let's go into this. I'm Shatrur and I'm the founder of Seamless Source. And my background is from fashion supply chains. I was working in the industry about like 15-20 years in supply chains from Sri Lanka to Bangladesh, China, Europe and all these countries before I moved to the UK. And I founded Seamless Source about 5 years back. So what we do is our technology. We are simply a startup into fashion supply chains. So our technology, we call it as a PRM. PRM means a product relationship management platform. So what we do is we keep the product at the center and we take suppliers, manufacturers, brands, consumers, recyclers, all connected to the product and helping that product go on a transparent and a circular journey. So that's what we do. Now, let me take you through 3 stories related to the AI. First one is about AI agents. And the second one is about systems and data. The final one is about passports of the products. So let's dive into the first one. AI agents. So we all heard about AI agents, AI, and all these things. So I'll explain you what is an AI agent. But first, forget about all these buzzwords and all this. So I know you guys might already know about AI agents, but I'll try to explain it in a very, very simple way. So think that we have a companion who is working with us. So there may be students, there may be lecturers, or there may be industry fellows. So all of us, when we are working, we want someone to help us. I was a student, I was a fashion student long time back. I wanted someone to help me with building up my tech packs. Or maybe while I was working, I wanted someone to set up some of my supply chain activities, or maybe some companion. So think that you have someone who is helping alongside with you. You give the instructions, then the person might ask some questions, but the person will complete the task and come back to you. So that is your companion. Now, put a robot face onto that person. That is an AI agent. So AI agent is a person or a software. Forget about the robot thing, I would say, but think it as a software which you will be teaching to that software for doing certain activities. It can be telling to make a tech pack, or maybe finding a supply chain, or maybe asking to do some repetitive work for you, and you giving clear instructions. So the agent will work on behalf of you and complete the task. And it will repeatedly work on until it gets the results. So AI agent, you can think it as a first year student. You're giving some knowledge, but you don't know anything. Not all the things, but you know some things. And then it goes to the second year, third year, it grabs more knowledge. And then goes to the industry, grab more knowledge. And then the agent will be able to perform a lot of activities. So that is what an AI agent is. Is it clear a little bit? What is an agent? Okay, so I'll take you through one example of an AI agentic activity. We're all familiar with delivered by 1 p.m. We go to Amazon and we see delivered by 1 p.m. and we take it very much granted. But think of 20 years back, if I come here and say, okay, I go to an e-commerce website and I wanted to deliver it by 1 p.m. You might be thinking, oh, this guy is saying something which is not feasible. Yes, about 20 years, 10 years back, that wasn't feasible. But AI work really well right now, optimization of routes, efficiencies, and all these things, and making sure that your product will be with you definitely by 1 p.m. That's what is happening. Now, let's go to the supply chains. If I talk about delivered by 7 days, it's not like practical right now. Because right now, supply chains normally take, like many of the products, normally take 6 months to 12 months whole lead time. From fabric to the manufacturing to the shipments, all these takes like years and years of time because there's a lot of complexities are there. And especially like finding a one simple supply chain is not very easy. You have to figure out where the supply chains are, where the you might have to conduct life cycle assessments. You have to figure out how the supply chain activities are working. There's like a huge lot of work. So finding a supply chain, it might take 7 days. So 7 days production might not be the case. Now let me show you an example.
This is the suggested value chain, developed based on the best matching suppliers for casual wear. Its advantages include improved sustainability with organic cotton, strong UK regulatory compliance, enhanced transparency, and a circular model, all supported by local and verified suppliers.
So this is not a AI generated video. This is a real life video from our platform Seamless Source. So what we do is we develop an AI agent where we can, this is a real person, one of my team member who is working on the product development or the technology development. So Priya, my team member, is asking from the AI agent in our platform, I needed to make a casual wear t-shirt. So the agent is looking onto all the supply chain partners within our platform. It can be fabric suppliers, it will be other certifications, it will be looking for the life cycle assessment. All these things assess on the back end within a very short time period because it has access to all the database information. All these things are there for the AI to be assessed. So when if a person takes like maybe a 1 day or 2 day to do the whole assessment, AI is like doing the whole assessment in a very short time period and giving you the results saying this is the value chain that you can use with the following parameters. It is looking into the life cycle assessment, it is looking into how much carbon, water and energy is emissioning for that product, and it will be looking on to other certifications that you are looking on. All these things optimized and showing this is the product and the value chain that you can use for this product. So in a one click of a button, you can click it and assign to your product and you can make the product. But yet we are not into the 7 days lead time. But I'm not saying it's not impossible, but that is what I see in next 5 to 10 years time. We will be optimizing all the user data and then seeing like this is what it will be coming up for the supply chain and pre-prepared for the supply chain, and then the products will be coming to you in a 7 days time. So localized supply chains with proper managed and proper calculated carbon and water emissions, and then the supply chain developed and coming up. So I believe in 5 years or 10 years time, 7 days lead time will not be a problem. Now let's move on to the second one, about the systems and data. So when we talk about systems and data, we have a lot of systems in the supply chains. Do you know any of the systems, or have you used about any systems in supply chains? Anyone? No? Have you heard about ERPs, PLMs, any chance? No? Okay, some of you might have, some of you might not. But when we talk about systems in supply chains, there are a lot of systems. I'm not saying we are in a drought of like there's no systems in supply chains. No, it's not like that. We have really nice, very interesting systems which are predominantly focused on specific supply chain activities. Let's take a ERP, which is focusing on the supply chain itself and helping to manage its enterprise resources. But when it comes to this one system going to talk to the other system, that's where the problem coming up. So these systems, when they want to talk to each other, it's kind of like, I'll take an example. Let's assume like we all are right now here, we teleported into some rural part of China. And then there's about like 10 people over there and we go into there. None of us speak Chinese. Do any of us? Oh, I think you speak. Okay. Maybe, might be a little bit different, but let's say none of us speak Chinese and none of them speak English. So then we try to communicate. We might understand few words that they're trying to say, but they might not understand exactly what we are trying to say. And then there will be a lot of communication gaps coming on. That is exactly what is happening when it comes to the data or the talking from one system to the other. The thing is, there are a lot of new regulations coming in. In the Europe especially, there's new regulations such as ESPR, CSDDD, which needed to collect a lot of data and process it. And these data can't be collected manually, because if I go and talk to a factory person and ask to collect data for millions and millions of products, it's not scalable and it's not workable. That person might have to wake up for the whole night and reply to me with all my emails and saying, okay, that's the data I need. That's not going to work. So that's where the data interoperability comes in. So systems are there. So what we wanted to develop a proper language and a proper mechanism that data can be passed from one system to the other without any proper problems. So it's kind of like a translator. It's kind of like a systematic thing. If we take about this example, we have the cotton field on the far left here, and then the manufacturer, and then the other supply chain partners, and the recyclers. All these partners are there in different areas. So when they wanted to talk to each other, there should be a way that they can pass the data. So the data should be made according to certain standards and certain mechanisms to pass through the platforms. So that's what it means by data interoperability. So data interoperability will be a huge thing which is coming up in the supply chains and in the future. This is already there, but we are not very much focusing it right now. So as a university, maybe as the students, when let's say we are looking forward to buy a system, or when we are looking forward to work on. So in such cases, we needed to make sure that systems are very much adhere to these new standards and their regulations, and it is having the data interoperability. Because the thing is, if it is not according to these standards, what will happen is the system will be outdated very soon, and then you might have to go for a new system. So right now, there are UN standards, there are ISO standards and DPP standards. Likewise, set of standards are there, which is helping these systems talking from one system to the other in a proper translative mechanism. That's how the data interoperability works. In that way, we can simply make sure that systems are there, data are there, they will not be isolated, data will be collected, purified, managed and stored, and when someone wanted the data, they will be talk to the system and select the data and pass it to the proper person. So this one I don't have an example because this is happening more of our backend. So when our software developers are developing the software, they always put the standards beforehand before they are developing the software. In that way, we can make sure our system can talk to the other systems, and we can talk to other systems, so other systems can talk to us. So that is something really interesting which is happening on the back end, which is having a really interesting part with the AI as well. So my third story about passports for products. We all have passports. I really like the passport stamps. When I was traveling a lot, I was like, okay, I wanted to have a passport stamp, I would have another passport stamp. And I was traveling with my Sri Lankan passport, and I needed to have many visas as well. So I'm a big fan of collecting visas and kind of passport stamps. So when I was traveling and when I was working, I was thinking, how about having product passports? This is something which is already happening. So if we consider ourselves from the time when we get a passport and from the time when we are ending our travel on our old age, we had a lot of passport stamps and visas in our passport, which is verifying this is where we have been, and this is the place, and this is the time we've been there, and all these things. So the same thing is there for the products. So we call it as a digital product passport. Any of you familiar with digital product passport? Good. Yeah. So I'm not going to talk a lot about digital product passports, but as you already know, the product passport connect designers, suppliers, shippers, brands, consumers, recyclers, all in a one place to the product through the product passport. So then it will help in the product go on a simple journey. Now I'll take you through an example of a product passport in a supply chain perspective. So this is a real life product. I have the product also with me. So what we did was, this is a brand from London called Soulcap, one of a brand that we supported for digital product passports. So this brand what they does is we map their whole supply chain. We had supply chains fully mapped out, and then we mapped it, and then we plug it to their business. So they were able to like figure out who is working on the manufacturing, who is giving the trims, and who is offering the other areas. All these things they were able to work on, and they were able to look onto supply chain data, all this information. I'll take it through a little bit information, but as a supply chain tech company, we believe like product passports is going to be a huge thing. And it's not just me who is saying, it's the reality. In 2030, it's supposed to have about 60 billion digital product passports in the world. This is mainly driving by the European regulations, because by 2027, businesses who are over 40 million turnover, they wanted to have digital product passports for each and every product, and 2030, all the products selling in the Europe, they should have the product passports. So as academics, as the students, and as industry, we all needed to make sure that this is something that we are adding into our product. We needed to look onto regulations. We want to see what's included in the product passport, and it needed to be embedded, because when we do the next collection, we're talking about 2026. We have about like a 1 year time period for the designing to the product development to the production. So by 2026, this is coming up. So it is already there. And then these are a little bit of benefits that a product passport can offer you. We might be thinking, yes, it's just an information set, but no. It gives you the transparency, it gives a cutting-edge advantage for the product, and then it will offer circularity for you. Circularity is not just for the name of circularity. It is a benefit for the brand as well, because we think, okay, circularity is good for the planet. No. Yes, it's good for the planet, but at the same time, it's helping the brand to open up new revenue streams. So with the circularity, brand can offer new services such as repair services, resale services, authentication services. All these things, they can be offered by the brand at that time. Because normally right now the business models are ending once they sell the product. After that, they don't earn anything. They sell this shirt to me, and after that, they don't earn anything. But with the product passport, they can get a extra payment from when the product is going for resale. They can earn a small percentage. They can earn another percentage once the product is going for the repair services. They can earn another percentage when they want to authenticate the product. So the lifetime value of one garment might not be £10 or £20. It can be go more than £50. So product passport offers a lot of new benefits for the product, and it obviously gives you all the compliance and product details, and it will help you with the consumer engagement as well. And then finally, you can get a lot of data-driven insights. As a business, especially if a fashion brand has a lot of SKUs or the fashion styles which is within their business, they have a lot of data. Right now, I don't see much of the businesses using supply chain data for their advancements unless they are either a huge company or if they are really obsessed with the technology. So there's wealth of data is there. So we can get a lot of data-driven insights. Finally, I'll show you through how a product passport works in this real-life garment. So you can put like all the fabric composition related information, and then you can put the care instructions on the product, and then about the supply chain, including all the certifications in the supply chain. And then you can even go for the component level traceability. You can tag all your certifications for the components, and then you can talk about your full story about the product. And then the life cycle, all the data will be automatically calculated, what kind of carbon, water and energy usage, and then all the recycling and repair services you can enable for the product as well. And then finally, you can collect all the customer feedback, especially from the design perspective. You can improve your product you can take the product onto the next stage once you does the designing. And then simply, as from the designing, we all like to do the designing and all this, so you can simply change the design and you can make a lot of different designs onto the product passport as well. So this is how the product passport looks like. And this product passport, I don't think it will take 10 years to be coming up into the mainstream. It is already there. Some of the brands, they are trying out with the product passport. I personally believe in about 5 years time, product passports will be on the mainstream, and now is the best time that we can adapt to the product passport and making sure that product passport is there. And then the AI plays a major role, because we are talking about hundreds and thousands of products. We can't do the product passport manually in all and each and every time. We have to collect data, process data. So that's where the technology works very well, and we have to have decentralized systems. So the product passport, where you see over here, all these data are collected automatically from the systems and the pre-upload data, and then created the product passport easily. So that's all about the 4 points about the things, and these are like my personal opinions, which might be coming up in next 5 to 10 years time. I personally believe these 3 things will be huge in the next 3 to 5 years time. But in case if it doesn't come out, don't come back to me. But I personally believe, yes, it will be the future. Agents, product passports, and data interoperability. Yeah, thank you. Any questions?
We've got absolutely perfect timing, thank you. We've got 10 minutes for questions, questions.
Yeah.
You might have said this, maybe I missed it, but you know when you're onboarding suppliers, and then you showed how you went in and used about source within 7 days. Where's that information pulled from? Because obviously with AI, it's not always accurate, is it, that information?
Yeah.
So does the platform liaise with the suppliers to get that accurate information, or are you relying on AI pulling that from wherever potentially there could be some inaccuracies there around things like
Yeah.
they really are sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
How genuine
Yeah.
is that information?
Yeah, this is a perfect question. I mean, I didn't got a chance to tell it on the presentation. So what you asked was a really good question, because AI and the data, everything relies on the truthfulness of the data. Because if the data is not cleared out, if the data is not very good, then we don't get proper information. So in our case, what we do is we get these supply chains and supplies fully on board and embedded into our system beforehand. It is a little bit of like manual work as well. We do it in 3 different ways. One is we manually integrate them into the supply chain. In some cases, we upload all this data through Excel imports. And the other thing is we connect it to PLM and ERP systems to collect data. So in that way, we have the real data. It's not about the data that is grabbed from the internet, or it's not the data that is which is not verified. So all these data are fully verified and who is on the system. I can give an example as well. So if you take about lifecycle assessment data, if you take lifecycle assessment and if you see just scrap data, you might not get the real life lifecycle assessment. So you might get like a 20 to 30% variation. But when you have the real life on the ground lifecycle assessment done, then you get the perfect data. So we have some partners that we are working with us to make sure that we onboard the supply chain partners, and then we collect the data and offer it. The thing is, we are a small startup, so we don't have like a lot of product types. Right now, we focus on about 4 different product types at our stage. For example, active wears, and then we work on some of the casual wear products, and then some of the lingeries. These are the main products that we are working at the moment. So for these products, we have a fully fledged supply chain. Some of them we have the up to the farmer level. That's how we work on.
Question is also, you go, Grace.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's really interesting to me. So I want to ask something around sourcing for recycled fabric. Is that something covered in your business? And if so, what kind of data repository you connect with your AI model to be able to execute that suggestion around sourcing for recycled material is something it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll answer it in two different parts. One is I'll answer how we do it right now and our future plans. Because right now what we do is we looked onto certifications like GRS and all the other global recycling standard certifications and other certifications. And what we do right now is we get into the supply chain partners who offer the recycled materials, and we looked onto their GRS certifications and the transaction certificates, and we do that manually. We don't have like connected systems for that area, so we do check it manually and making sure that product which is sourced is checked for the GRS certification and then for the transaction certificate as well, to make sure that you get the real authentic recycled product, because you know there's a lot of controversies related to recycling. So that's what we do. But the future, what we are planning on is connected to GRS certification body, because they have their own internal systems, and we can pull out data whenever like we wanted to make sure this product is recycled content is on there. So then we can connect it to the system and match the system data along with our system data. So that's what I talk about the second point about the talking systems or the data interoperability. So then in that way we can make sure that that system data is matching to our system data with the language wise, and then we can make sure that data is verified as well. Right now we don't have it in our system, we do it manually, but in the future our plan is making sure we connected with the system. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Sorry, excuse my ignorance. Could you tell me a bit more about what an NFC tag is?
Yeah, sure. So NFC tag is NFC means near frequent communicator. So have you heard about RFID any chance? Yeah, so it's somewhat like RFID. So the same technology is there for the NFC tag. Only difference is RFID tag can be scanned from a long distance, but NFC tag can be scanned very much nearby. So if you see your bank card that has the NFC technology, so what it does is in this particular product, we have an NFC tag embedded. These are just one of like a simple example. So this is an NFC tag. So what we do is if you put your phone over here, like it will be scanned and the product passport will open up for you. So that's yeah, you can try it.
So you're adding like electronics to garments?
So
You're adding some electronics to a garment. How does that work with the recycling stage?
So it's a good question. So when it comes to recycling, so the biggest problem for the recycling is recyclers don't have the information about how the what the fabric content and all the information about the product. So yes, there can be problems with the recycling stage, but it will work in both ways, because one is recycler get a proper idea, this is the content of the tag, this is the content of the fabric, and they can make a recycling furthermore efficiently. And the other point is, yes, there will be a tag, but at the same time it will get to know how to do the recycling of the tag as well.
Sure, it's just that removal. It's already difficult to remove like maybe synthetic and natural materials. Then actually,
Yeah.
So electronics as well. I just find that really conflicting in terms of like,
yeah.
recycling easier, but it's going to be harder.
Yeah. Your point is correct. I'll give an example project what we started working on. So we're talking about nylon. So normally, like nylon 66 is the one that which can be recycled. So what the program going on is get all the product made with nylon 66. So including the yarns, threads, and all these things, and then the electronic tag will be made with nylon 66, and then it will be taking out. But the thing is, you are correct. The world is not there yet. World is evolving around that. But the thing is, we had to start it from somewhere, and then the biggest problem what we see right now is data is not passing from designer to the recycler, because designer needed to be connected to the recycler to make sure that product can be recycled. Right now the problem is that connection is disconnected. Designer might design a product, but they are not connected to the recycler. They might not be connected even to the factory in the very initial stage. So that's what we wanted to work on.
Real-time data. I know we've been working with some recyclers, wasting many companies in the UK, like one in Mansfield. So they have about 15 tons of waste per day. So it's difficult to capture all the data and to be available, like communicate with designers, second-hand materials.
Yeah. So what it can does is, like, I mean, there are some technologies in the UK right now. One of my colleagues is doing a similar kind of a technology. What they does is right now what it happens in the recycling is they looked onto the material and they see, okay, this might be nylon, it might be cotton, and they like kind of like guessing for the material. So what it does right now is they take the product, go through a special conveyor belt, and then it read the unit or the chip and then figure out, okay, this, sorry? Yeah. Read it and then figure out this is the material, and then they segregate it. The good news is once it's segregated, it's easy to do the recycling or the other parts. But what I'm talking here about the product passport is not just a recycling. What my personal belief is, it's not only about recycling. We have to use our clothing as much as possible time, like maybe 5 years or 10 years. Maybe a shirt needed to be used like as much as possible time, even before sending it to the recycling. So what I advocate is personally for the longevity of the product. And then after the longevity, yes, it needed to be properly recycled. So that's where the designers playing a major role. So the designers needed to be taught to make sure that products designed to be worn for long term, and then once it's done, yes, then it needed to be properly recycled. That's my personal opinion.
I think this is about the AI part, but I just find that quite complex. It has to
Yeah.
make it to the conclusion. It feels like it's just going to come up for
By the way, this is just a testing one. The real one is the QR code on the product, and the QR code is the one. So this NFC tag is a testing one what we does with the brand. NFC tag is mostly using for very high valued product to be used on, especially like handbags and all these. We use it as a button and a patch where it will be put. Yeah. Yeah. You're correct. I mean, this one is just a example of like one testing we did for the NFC tag. NFC is not very much, I mean, to be honest, NFC is not very much famous with the brands. It's mostly the QR code is the one they are using for the product passport at the moment.
I guess also a big benefit of it, well, or the idea of a big benefit of it is to try and overcome counterfeit.
Definitely, yeah.
But then I wonder how easy it would be to get around it to then produce a fake
passport. Exactly. I mean, it's a good question, Mel, and a good point, because that's where the NFC comes in. Because if you come up with the QR code, there's bit of like problem in technology wise. It's a bit of a problem on we can't stop like counterfeiting that QR code. They can counterfeit easily and print it and work on. But in the NFC tag, we have a special technology where we can put a password for the NFC tag. So that password, I mean, technology wise, we can put a password, and the person who is on the other side who is trying to copy it, they can't see the password. So that's where we use the NFC tags for that's why I mentioned about the high valued product. Exactly as you mentioned, Mel, that is using for the counterfeit prevention. And we had some discussions with one of the largest, having discussions with one of the largest retailer. If it works out, it will be a huge project for counterfeit prevention with the same technology.
I've been working with some colleagues in AI and like Edge AI Hub in Newcastle University. They have proposed an idea of, to track the transparency, to look at the materials, country original for that original material by vision, AI vision, so they can detect material to see the fabric, to see where it can produce this type of fabric. They'll be able to detect the whole supply chain of that material, from raw material to the weaving or knitting, and be able to find the origins. That's something we proposed.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So this is something you're already working on?
Yeah.
Okay.
We are proposing in the UPRI funding call. It's really,
Okay.
interesting. I would like to get in touch with your
Yeah.
in tax and recycling.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, we can have like a chat after this and see what kind of like collaborations we can work on. I mean, we work with some universities like with some related projects and all. So sometimes some students coming and working with us some projects, and we did some Innovate UK like collaborative funding applications, etc. So we definitely something we can look into. Yeah.
So your colleague from Innovate UK?
Is
that colleague that you've been bringing, did they have something to do with Innovate UK?
Yeah, I mean, she's working for the Innovate UK. I mean, I didn't know like this was, initially I didn't know this was an NTU event. I first thought this was like very much a public event. So as she's coming in, I said like, okay, I'm a bit busy with this event. If you can come here. So it's... Yeah. So she'll be coming anyway. So yes, she's working for the Innovate UK for the textile and fashion sector. Yeah.
Just ask a little question.
You know about you saying, I think it was on the screen, you saying, oh, it's really good for data and the data that the consumer can access, but also the data that the brand can access. So what data can the brand access? Because obviously there's a lot of consumers that don't, I don't want to say the word tracked, but that they're opting out of providing that. So how does that work reverse, and what does the brand get in terms of data?
Yeah. So here our technology is focused for the brand. So the brand gets all the data, and the brand can select which data that they wanted to communicate for the consumer. So for example, that product passport I showed you, it's kind of like almost all the information are there. And then you can consider, like, let's say you don't want to talk about the component level traceability, or you don't want to mention about where your spinning is happening or the dyeing is happening. So you can, if you are the brand, you can control which level of information that you want to communicate, because in some cases brands doesn't want to overwhelm with the information to the consumer, because sometimes it making consumers a little bit like problematic. They might be thinking, okay, this is too much information, I can't process it, kind of. So yeah. Yeah.
Where are you wearing what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like almost the same. So that patch, to say, if I was to go on to that, she's gone on holidays, or you know, like it doesn't let that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You've been on your holidays, you've worn it 3 times.
Yeah.
We don't want to let go of our data sometimes.
Okay.
I'd be one of those people who'd be like, right, I'm hacking that out.
Yeah.
How,
Your point is true. I mean, from my perspective, I didn't thought about that like until very recently. But I recently saw a Facebook group post who was posting I think a few economic forum video, something about the product passport, and then I read the comments on the bottom, and it was saying the same thing you were mentioning. I don't want to be tracked, and the governments are looking to track us and all these things. So yes, there is a possibility, like I'm not talking about our company or like maybe in the future or something like that, but yes, there is a possibility that the product passport can track you, but it doesn't mean that yes, it can track you. I mean, in simple terms, let's say in our let's say in a technology, if you give the permission for the when you scan it and when you click it, it will take all your data automatically, and it can pass to a provider or the brand. But the thing is, there are some protocols and the data, that's where the data interoperability coming up as well. So there are some standards coming up. So that's where the DPP standards in the European Union is coming up. So when we are developing our technology, we needed to adhere and work based on these technologies and the standards. So we can't track any personal data. We have to make sure, I mean, right now we are under all the GDPR laws and all this. So we had to work based on that same regulations. It doesn't mean like we have a new technology and we can go beyond and do whatever we wanted. So we are under any of the legalities within the UK, and when we are going to the European market, they're already setting up some of the regulations. Still, like we are in there's something called SURPASS, which is a consortium for talking about these problems and finding solutions. So we are in the discussions with the European Union to making sure that the problem you are talking is not happening. But yes, if there's no regulations, it can happen. If someone scans, then it can take all the data and pass it to someone. But we don't do it. At the same time, I don't think other companies are doing it because it's illegal.
I guess that's why you want to have a label that you can cut out.
Or maybe like third-party companies will be able more to track us. Like,
Yeah.
let's say the more cameras in cities are installed, and then you just don't have to have this outside. Just you pass something, we can scan this like automatically. And then other company, maybe not yours, but where we are, what we do.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, but I can tell you one thing. I'm sure when you see the cookies policy, we normally, like most of the time, we accept it. Like we accept the cookies. So what cookies does is the same thing, which you don't know about it. Like once you accept the cookie, like it will look onto all the activities that you are doing in the internet, and it is passing to the provider. So that is already happening in some ways. So I mean, I normally used to like there's 2 clicks always that you have to decline and like say no and all these things. So if you are used to accept cookies, that is already happening within your computer. And if you go to your cookies in your Chrome or the browser, you can see like hundreds of cookies are doing that whole looking into you kind of. I mean, the data is anyway anonymized.
If you're
everybody be like, you know,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But you can give your clothes.
Oh, yeah.
That would be maybe
Mm.
more physical.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. But the good thing is it's not connected right now, the cloth and the, yeah. Yeah. I mean, what my suggestion is, let's say the positive side, because the product passports and the AI is already with us. We can't go away from that. And the good thing is, it will be helping us to have better recycling and better circular services. Plus, we will get better transparency for the supply chain. In that way, we can build better fashion products. So that's the positive side, and we definitely needed to navigate and figure out how to avoid all these bad circumstances about tracking and all these things. Yes, definitely bad things we need to avoid, but let's see the positives and see how we can improve the industry with positive AI.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No worries, thank you.